how important are these two topics, to really bring something to the world, like your business, right? I mean, is it possible to really have a big community because maybe what you're doing is just what you can do, right? So it's kind of lonely per definition, maybe. And still you had people, like you said, that have been cheering you. So how are you navigating these two aspects?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question, because it's often something that I see a lot of clients and our students grappling with, because I think the journey of discovering who you are, what you want to create in the world, being an entrepreneur, I think inherently those times can be lonely, because you are evolving your identity out of who you once were. So the loneliness for me came that most of my relationships and my friendships were professional. They worked in the same industry. They went to the same parties and drinks and things like this. So when I started to step into entrepreneurship, and I was like, it was like this whole identity change. And that led to that loneliness. It was like, wait, where's my group? I have all these people around me, but do we really connect anymore? And I was in a relationship at the time that I then knew, like, we were just growing further and further apart. I think that's really hard too, because that happens in a lot of your key relationships sometimes. When you really go after what you want, some people come on the journey and some actually drifts you apart. So that's what triggered the loneliness. And I had a few key people that really supported me. And I really believe if anyone wants to do anything great, like, we need support. We're social, interdependent. I know we love to be independent, but we're interdependent beings, right? We're socially connected. We need each other as much as we don't want to admit that, a lot of us. And that having those key people, I didn't need too many, but I did need a few. And I definitely had a few friends who were just like, I have no idea what you're doing, but you keep going. Like, I'll keep coming to your events and you just keep going. And my mom and mentors and coaches. And the great thing about the mentors and coaches that I had and that I really needed, they had the belief system and they had done the results that I was wanting. So every time I had doubt and fear and I was like, I don't know, they'd be like, we got this. We know we got this. We're doing this. And so it really built I almost like borrowed their belief until I built that robustness in myself. So I think that's really big. And something I always advise for people is like, go and find, you can still maintain all your friendships, but go and find people who are living the life that you're stepping into. So I would go to these events, and I was a young lawyer. So we had these very particular professional events that we'd go to. And I would find these little startup tech kind of hub events, and I would go to them and everyone would be like, oh yeah, because those communities are really good friends. I'd be like, oh, I'm just seeing what this is all about. I'm a lawyer, but I'm just checking it out. And that was so good for my confidence, because I was like, oh, these people are cool and I can learn. And it built this new community that by the time, again, that I left, it was like, okay, I've got friends who are doing this. And I think we really, we know the 4-minute mile and things like that. Like, once you see someone doing it, humans, we realize it's possible for us. So
important. Community and coaching you mentioned as well. And I think talking about first times and your first coaching experience, I think that's something that you remember very well, right? Maybe because it was the first time, maybe because of something else, I'm not sure. But could you share that with us?
Of course. So my first coaching experience, I was sitting in the seminar. There was maybe 150 of us. It was quite a big seminar. And so it wasn't one-to-one coaching. It was my first kind of seminar transformation experience. I'm sitting there thinking we're going to talk about my career and what I want to do with my life. And the way that it worked is they would bring up a distinction or a concept, and then they would have people come up to the front and they would coach them.
Okay.
And the concepts and distinctions are what would be known as like paradigm shifting. Like, you really got to get your head around it. So it's not so linear, like, this is about my career, my life path. It's like, how did you end up being who you are? Kind of those deeper questions. So I'm sitting there watching this person who goes up the front being coached, and I'm like, wow. And I can just see the light bulb like going off in this person's brain just simply by the coach questioning. Just asking questions and tell me about that. And did you notice about this? And then this person was like, just got this enlightened moment about who they are, what they've been doing, why they've been stuck. And I was like, that what is that modality? Like, how did that, I'd done talk therapy, psychologist, like I'd done a lot of that stuff, but I was like, what was that? And that was coaching. The ability to question, to mirror, to show blind spots, to ask powerful questions and mirror back until someone has the insight themselves, because that's a million times more powerful than being told something, or just talking the whole time. It really was the art of the questions and that insight. And that was the first moment that I ever saw coaching like demonstrated so powerfully. And for me, I was like, I want to know how to do that.
And is that also what you do then for your clients?
Yeah. So a lot of my kind of skill, yes, I bring tools and training and programs and materials, because there is sometimes for a lot of us, there's what we talk about, a skill set gap and a mindset gap. And so for many people, there is a skill set gap around they don't know what they don't know. Maybe they don't know about their energy systems or their financial systems in their business, or there is genuinely intellectual things for us to learn. And then there's also this mindset gap piece, which is where, okay, I know all the things, or I know what I need to do, but I'm not doing it. And coaching, really what I love bringing there is helping people get underneath or maybe see a perspective they can't see. So that's, really combining those two is what I love. And our programs have a lot of accountability and community, again, because I know that a lot of us are trying to do it alone. And it's so great when you just have other people kind of cheering you on.
That's so true. Could you share one or two of the biggest, in that sense, transformations that you have seen in your clients? Most fulfilling, rewarding for you also? Yeah.
It's just a lot of amazing stories, but one that comes to mind is one of our clients, Gail, and she won't mind me sharing because we've done a lot of interviews on her story and journey. So every time I had this program that was for female leadership development. So women really wanting to activate their purpose and perhaps change career, but really understand what they want to create. And this program we had run maybe 12 times. And Gail, every time she said, I should do it. And then she wouldn't do it. And it for years. And then I got to the point where I said, look, this is going to be my last round for a bit. I'm going to explore some other avenues. And and it was the last one. Put out the email and she emailed back, oh my gosh, I have to do it now. I was like, 2.5, 3 years later. Anyway, so she jumps in the program. She did incredible. She did that program. Now Gail was a solo mum of 3 and she was a mum when she was 16 years old. So she has had an incredibly challenging life and a lot of hardship, and is also one of the most powerful people I've ever met in the world. She just has this, what we would call in our Māori indigenous culture, mana, and she just has this power. And she came through the program. She started to really activate her worth, what she wanted, and started to declare and create, I'm going to have a life bigger than being in the system, and I'm going to create a vision bigger than my family's ever seen that I can support. And then she came into our next program, and that's a leadership program, and that was more about starting to take your purpose and express it in the world. It wasn't business per se, but it was about really starting to elevate how you were showing up. So she started to create a community for other mums, young mums, which are one of the most discriminated. Unfortunately, they get a lot of challenges in New Zealand and things, and a lot of solo mums do. And so she built this community to really support them. And then she was like, okay, now I didn't grow up with any business information or knowledge. I got no idea how to do all of this. So I want to do the business programs, and I want to learn how to take this thing and make it pro, go pro with it. So she came into the business program for over a year, and she went through the entire process, and she took this kind of little concept, let's say, into a fully fledged business. She built her own program specifically for young mums, empowering young mums. And she started speaking on stages. She got invited to events. She started running retreats, and she built this phenomenal business that now supports her family. So she can support her kids. She has more time with them. And obviously in the whole process, witnessing her realize who she is and how powerful she is and how much she has to contribute was just a gift. And that was a 2 or 3 year process. So I think I get the privilege of working with people for quite a long time, and you really see how much they transform and what they start to create.